All right, we'll probably still waiting for a few people, but I think we can start. So, hello everyone. It's really great to have you on this webinar. My name is Mariusz. I'm head of marketing, and I'm responsible for all the marketing activities at Pagepro. And today, I would like to, together with our team, we would like to talk a bit more about the problems with outdated WordPress website and how those problems actually affecting and killing all the marketing efforts. Before I will get to the subject itself, I would like to make a short introduction because I'm not going to be the only one talking. So here are our hosts. First, Chris. Chris is a Pagepro CEO. Myself, I'm a head of marketing. We'll be speaking also with Łukasz, WordPress project manager. Also, Carolina will tell us a bit more about project Jamstack projects and get us a bit more familiar with the subject. And we will be also having a part from Paulina, which is a Jamstack business developer. So starting from myself, as you already know, I'm a marketing manager. So I'm going through many marketers' issues, and I've been also through many marketing issues related to WordPress website. And for marketing department, the most important thing is actually lead generation and new business generation, which is also very close to the conversion from the website. And today we're going to be talking, I want to focus myself a bit more on conversion and what actually negatively affects the conversion. So if we think about it, there are three most important things that actually make your website low in conversion. First of all, it's a slow website. The second thing is low Google ranks. And the third thing is unstable and insecure website. And if you think about it, if WordPress is not well optimized, it's actually vulnerable for all three. It affects all of those three areas that are pretty much related to each other. So starting from slow website, if you have a WordPress website and it is not optimized well enough, the website is slow. And I think this is the biggest pain point of each and every owner of a WordPress website. And obviously, when your website is slow, it means that it creates weak user experience. So people have to wait for content to load. And you know, nowadays, people are kind of less patient than before. So, and what we're trying to do most of the time is we are trying to kind of keep up with the user experience, and we are trying to improve this user experience by adding new features and functionalities to the existing website. But the problem is that the more features you add to your website, in other words, more plugins you add to your website, because most of the time we add plugins as features, this website becomes even more slower. So we are ending up in this loophole where when the slower your website is, the more you want to improve your user experience, but the more you're trying to improve user experience with some typical tools, the slower it becomes. So the second natural problem that comes out from the slow website is Google ranking. And we know that there is a high correlation between page speed and Google algorithms. So the slower your website is, the lower your position on your favorite keywords will be. And if core web vitals, these are a set of rules that Google actually uses to kind of to see if your website is actually well optimized for user experience, for example. So if you cannot meet the core web vitals, that will make your website pushed a bit down in the Google ranks. So if you're going to go down with the Google ranks, you become invisible to potential clients. You can be overtaken by competitors. That also means your domain rate will be a bit lower, and it all ends up with low traffic. And as you know, if you don't have traffic, you don't have users, you cannot really get any leads, and then you also don't have much of a field for experiments. So, and the marketing is actually a part where experimenting is really important, and you cannot actually experiment much with users or leads coming from your website. And the third problem or issue is unstable and insecure website. And for many people, that might not be a problem. For example, if you're a small business and you just have your website as a kind of a digital business card, it's fine to be down for a while. But if your website is actually generating most of your business, or if your website is a core place to get leads and to generate new business, I think if you got hacked, your conversion immediately stops. That means that you cannot make any business online. So this is the case. This is the really important case for businesses that are actually built on their websites. And monolithic approach, which is WordPress. WordPress is actually vulnerable by nature. So whenever the monolithic approach, I think Chris will say a bit more about monolithic approach, but that makes your website really vulnerable. And another thing is also really important: when something goes viral on your website, for example, if you create a really nice piece of content that you want to send over, and it will generate a lot of traffic, there is something called scalability issue, which means that the more traffic you will attract to your website, the lower performance of your website will be. So you can experience lots of downtimes, or it can even shut down your website if it's not optimized well enough. So these are the most important problems that I have spotted as a marketing manager. So first of all, the user experience caused by page speed, low Google ranks caused by also by page speed, and other factors like core web vitals, and security issues that may also affect your conversion. And right now, I think we will get to the part where we will think how to resolve those issues. And I would like to invite Paulina to take over from now.
Thank you, Mariusz. So hello, everyone. I'm Paulina, and it's nice to meet all of you. And as Mariusz already mentioned, while working with WordPress, we might face many different problems that affect our website, but the question is how to deal with them. So today, we would like to present you 3 solutions, which will give you a kind of broader view of how to streamline your work and improve the overall look and feel of your website. We will talk about WordPress performance updates, headless WordPress, and of course, migration to Jamstack. Łukasz, our project manager, will tell you more about the first solution. So Łukasz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Paulina. Hi, everyone. I'm Łukasz, and currently I'm managing most of Pagepro WordPress project. Exactly as Mariusz mentioned, vital and accessible page is core part of business, especially in marketing area. So let's speak about common possibilities and possible causes for our low performance. We've got quite a list here. So the first on our list, faulty website implementation. The first thing we should consider with the shape of our website, and few things we might look at are maybe the outdated WP or PHP version, widgets and images not being optimized. Maybe we are using overweighting third-party functionality instead of the native one, or maybe we just didn't pay enough attention to the page core vitals. Too many plugins. Long list of plugins can impact our page speed. Random, not recommended plugins may be problematic with integration and consume additional time to adjust. The malware. If your website is running slower than expected, malware might be the reason. Website owners not always realize that malware is hidden within their page. And as we know, malwares can severely weigh down the website. they might consume additional resources and slow everything down. Depending on the malware type, we can even get banned by the web host or the search engines. The dynamic content load, as we know, WordPress websites are dynamic, which means the information you see is usually taken from the database as the page loads. This small code adds a milliseconds to the time it takes to the page to load based on how much information it gets to the website. And the last thing here is the cheap or lackluster hosting. Hosting is a fundamental part of everything we do online. The SEO, page ranking, the inquiries, calls, and emails your site generates are all tied up to the quality of your hosting. So it's quite important. Well, we went through the issues. Now let's get to something more appealing, the solutions, how we get rid of those problems. So first off, the less plugins or recommended ones. Simply, it's so effective. Take a look at the list of plugins you're using and disable or just delete any that are no longer needed. Less plugins are just better from a speed perspective. Using as many recommended plugins as you can should as well help with the speed and integration. Compressed images and optimized widgets. Our approach to website speed is always a business-first approach, and low-quality images hurt our marketing. We never want to sacrifice the quality of our images for a slight speed gain. Often, images can be compressed by 20 to 50%, which can cut around 1 to 2 seconds of the load time of the website. The important thing is to make lossless compression. Lossless compression gives us smaller file size with the same quality. Cache and clearing cache mechanism. A key element of getting your website to run fast is to use caching. Caching pre-builds each page on your site, so all of the thinking and the processing required to serve the page to the visitor is done before they request the page from your website does. So it's quite good to have it within your page, so it preloads all of the stuff. Better hosting plan. Faster, more reliable hosting easily will pay for itself in many forms for your website. If your website is your main resource of revenue, then it makes sense to think about getting most out of your hosting, because it's going to have a direct impact on how much money your business makes. And overall optimization, if you want to get more and better understanding of the optimization process from the more technical point of view, please find our ebook PDF about the topic at the end of our presentation. Okay, so we have went to the issues, we have went to the solutions. Now let's consider when to optimize and when to leave the WP. So you've got a few elements on our list here as well. Budget might be definitely one of the core things that we have to consider. Whenever we think about working on our website, we definitely have the budget somewhere in our mind. If the budget is limited, it's better to think about optimization, evolution, instead of the revolution. Website structure is important as well. The shape, whenever we think about working there, we have to consider if the current website state is, properly adjusted, and if it's not, for example, built with Elementor or Builder, the structure is not complex, the list of plugins is not long and outdated. Well, if some of those things are the reason here, we might not be always fully able to and easy optimize our website. The business future plans. Business always takes its part in decision process as well. Taking in consideration our plan for the website is important aspect. Optimization is a good option if you want to make a small adjustment and don't plan any bigger changes in the near future. WordPress needs to be up to date. To maintain the website the best way, we should keep it in a great condition all of the time. WordPress and plugins should always be up to date. Interest in new trends will definitely help with keeping up with the technology improvements and make the optimization process something standard. And something that we have to consider is having a tech team. We're able to change the content or install few plugins by ourselves, but to be fully independent, a tech team is necessary to take care of our website. And that was basically all on our WordPress plates. Thank you for your attention. Next in our menu is Headless CMS, and Chris will present it to you.
Hello, so I'm Chris, I'm CEO of Pagepro. And we are around 12 years on the market. And for that time, we've been able to deliver more than 200 projects. We started with WordPress websites, and since 2019, we are heavily invested in Jamstack, and we are developing Jamstack-based websites. So after Łukasz part about optimizing the WordPress, we are heading to second part of the presentation where we are going to speak about Jamstack. I will be speaking about Jamstack and using WordPress as a headless CMS. And after me, Karolina is going to speak about going fully into Jamstack. So we have the option when we are leaving the WordPress alone. In my part, I want to speak about headless approach and also traditional approach, because to understand each other, we also need to know the differences. I will be speaking about benefits of the headless approach. I will show you if we can use WordPress as a headless CMS or not, when it's good to use, and when this is a not very good idea. Okay, so if we need to speak about headless WordPress and headless CMSs, we need to start with traditional approach. So traditional CMSs have, okay. So traditional CMSs have three different areas in one code base. So like in WordPress, we have editing interface. So this is the WordPress admin. We have the database. So this is the place where all the content is stored. And also we have the presentation layer. So in the WordPress is WordPress theme. So this is the place where the final users sees the content. In the headless approach, this is a bit different. So as the name says, headless means the CMS doesn't have head. So if it doesn't have head, it just have content, and it just have the admin area, so backend experience and editing experience. And this backend experience is interacting with the database. In the database, you have all of your content. So you have your content repository, and this content repository can be accessible using the API. So basically, thanks to that, you have your editing experience, your database, and you can interact with many frontends on different platforms, different devices using the API. Okay, so how headless CMS work? As I mentioned, you have the editing interface. So this is the place where you as a content editor log in and editing your data. You have the database where the content is stored, and you have API. So you don't have this theme that is, in the same code base that the CMS, and you have different code bases for the frontend. So thanks to that, your presentation layer is framework agnostic. So we can use many different front-end frameworks like Next.js or Gatsby. Why do we like headless CMS? So as you already understand, thanks to the headless approach, your front-end is platform independent. So you can use the very modern front-end frameworks like Next.js or Gatsby using some maybe a bit older technology stack on the backend like WordPress, Drupal, and other CMSs. Thanks to modern frameworks on the front end, you have full flexibility and also the great performance of the website, because there is no strict connection from the user to the database, because your content is taken using API and is usually statically generated. Also, you can benefit from omnichannel strategy, because your content in one CMS can be used in different devices and different websites. So for example, you can have two mobile apps using the same data from the same database, and you can also have several websites, B2B websites, B2C websites, e-commerce shop, etc. So thanks to that, you have one database of contents that you can edit and multiple different frontends. Okay, so we discussed what is the headless approach. We discussed how it's different from traditional approach, but let's check if this is a popular approach or this is just something that we as technical people like to experiment with. So as you can see, there was a big report about Jamstack and headless approach done by VP Engine. So this company surveyed a lot of people in 2019, and 64 of the enterprises that were involved in the survey said that they are already working with headless approach. 92% of the respondents told that there is a very big importance of digital experience for the final users. So this ability to use modern front-end, modern UI frameworks is giving them a business advantage. And around 90% of all respondents told that they're going to migrate to headless in next 12 months. So as you can see, that means a lot of companies are currently using Jamstack and headless CMS, and there are a lot of more companies that are willing to do that. The question is, could WordPress be a headless CMS? So basically yes, because WordPress by default has an API. So thanks to that, you can use your WordPress admin, and using the API, you can populate your content to different platforms. So when you're using headless WordPress, you're just using the admin experience of WordPress and the database, and you need to connect the custom front-end built, for example, in Gatsby or Next.js. Okay, so we know that headless approach is cool. We know it's popular. We know that users love that approach, and if users love that approach, you also can benefit from better conversions. But why WordPress could be a good headless CMS? So you're here because you're already working with WordPress, and you know this admin panel, and every marketer in the world already knows WordPress panel. It's pretty easy to use, and everyone knows that. So this is a very big benefit of using headless WordPress, because you don't need to migrate to new CMS. You don't need to learn how to work with it. Also, your content is already here in WordPress, so you don't need to populate content once again. And I know that you already have a lot of blog posts and other marketing materials that are perfectly crafted. You have your SEO tags, you have your plugins, you have all of the options and cross-linking, and moving that to different platform can be time-consuming. So yes, your content is here, you can use it. The admin panel you already know, and you have a lot of plugins that you also like to work with. And also you can benefit from the custom front-end and modern tools performance, and also unlimited options of customization of your user interface. Okay, so that looks pretty cool, but when not to use that? So unfortunately, Jamstack approach requires some more coding than in normal WordPress. In normal WordPress, you can benefit from custom themes, or you can benefit from page builders. In the Jamstack approach, the front end needs to be coded by somebody. So if you just have marketers in your team, going Jamstack might be not a good solution, because every time you want to add a new type of component, a new type of content on the website, you need to ask a developer. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing that you want going to use the page builders like Elementor, because it doesn't work well with Jamstack. And the third is that you cannot use all of the plugins capacity that you might have in the monolithic approach. Okay, so I hope I translated to you how headless approach works, how you can benefit from using Jamstack. I hope you understand that WordPress can be a headless CMS for your modern Jamstack website. And now let's go to Carolina's part, and Carolina is going to tell you about the other way. And in this way, you're going fully out of WordPress. So we are benefiting from Jamstack approach with native headless CMS. Thanks.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Chris. And hello, everyone. It's really great to be here with you today. My name is Carolina, and I'm a project manager responsible for coordinating Jamstack projects in Pagepro. As the previous speakers have said, the change. When your site doesn't work as it should and actually reduces your business potential, we feel we need to discuss your options. So far, we have focused on changes that were more evolution than revolution. I would like to present an idea that will be definitely a new quality. This is Jamstack migration. And what exactly is Jamstack migration? So as the name suggests, it's a migration of an old solution, your current website, to a new one. Simply put, that means rebuilding a website as a Jamstack website based on the static site generator with headless CMS, which Chris has just described. Chris, thank you so much for this introduction to the concept of static website with headless CMS. It made my part much easier. The frameworks we usually use for that are Next.js or Gatsby. The choice depends on the functional requirements of any particular client. What does that mean for you? This is a new technology, so it's actually creating a website from scratch. It also means new design, new functionalities, and maybe even a new approach to information architecture and contents. That's why I call it a revolution. When should you consider Jamstack migration? So in order to be able to answer this main question, you must first answer several other no less important questions. So are you tired of how your website works and looks? Are you experiencing issues with your website performance and usability? Are available layouts and templates no longer sufficient? Are you looking for big and qualitative change? If at least some of the answers are yes, you're not only tired of how your website performs, but also how it's built, what user journey it offers to both administrators and end users, and you're interested in finding a comprehensive solution, a revolution rather than evolution, listen up about migrating your site to Jamstack. What are the main pros of migration to Jamstack with headless CMS? First of all, you'll get a new CMS and a completely new approach and new concept of content management, which is no longer based on default page templates, but rather components, sections from which you can assemble many different pages, just like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Also, we are aware that your needs change. You have different content and you'll have different content that no longer has to be presented in a fixed way. The component concept offers a lot of freedom and more variety for your audience as well. Building components allows you to precisely define specific needs and provide an appropriate way of fulfilling them. New quality and functionalities regarding user experience, the way the page is built, it's static, which means it's stable, secure, and efficient. And you no longer need to rely on developers to add new page templates. You can create them on your own to match your current needs. You just need to use the components you have to create entirely new layout. Jamstack website and CMS provides some values. This is something that Chris already described, but we think it can't be emphasized enough. The first of them is the extension of functionality. It's able to be more functional. You can add some new features and improve the efficiency of your website. Extensions of web efficiency. The general aim here should be to make your website work better and faster. It should influence the website's higher volume of organic traffic and ensure a better user experience. The performance of a Jamstack website is usually much better than dynamic websites. It has a potential to be highly performative and SEO optimized. The solution is scalable, can handle with a lot of traffic, and it's easy and also cheap to host. High level of security. Migration to a new CMS allows the choice to make it safer, to use proven and safe solutions. Jamstack handles dynamic functions with APIs and client-side JavaScript, which is a lot less exposed than traditional CMS. Jamstack totally removes just about all security threats that our standard architecture is prone to having. So websites built on Jamstack are not only more secure, they are simply secure. And website refreshment. Migrating a website to a new CMS with new frontend often allows to refresh the entire company branding. But all these values are related with the one important condition we have to keep in mind, condition of traffic and visibility. Because correctly provided migration of CMS should minimize losing the traffic, keeping good visibility, and in some cases makes its increase straight away. On the other hand, we should keep in mind that the opposite is the risk linked with poorly executed migration. Okay, so Chris has described the WordPress as a headless CMS. Other commonly used headless CMS are Sanity, Prismic, Strapi, Contentful, or Storyblock. Most of them are open source options offering free plans, which means there won't be any recurring costs for you. Yet, what do you need to be ready for if you decide to give that solution a try? First of all, several weeks of work. Website redesign is usually a complicated, time-consuming task. Remember, it's a revolution, not just an evolution. A commitment and willingness to participate in the process. Let's put it this way. The more involved you are in the process of designing a new solution, the closer the solution will be to your expectations. Some evaluation, prioritization, and sometimes difficult decisions. It's worth realizing that this is not meant to be an exact copy of your current website, unless it is. Old habits die hard, but it's worth giving yourself and your site a chance to transform into something new and better. Some content maybe should be removed. Maybe you should change the structure, even though you're used to it. Maybe your company's narrative has changed, and it's worth reflecting that on the new site. A website is like a story. It's worth considering how to tell its best. Work on the content and accounts mapping and migration. Website migration means also focusing on mapping what you have regarding pages, assets, text, admin roles, and creating a plan for migration and costs. Because it's a complex project, it's usually much more expensive than improvements to an existing solution. We have to be aware of that. What do you need to succeed? Besides website development itself and a competent team to perform it. A plan. A plan provides you the structure and predictability. It gives you a lot of security when even when the things go wrong. It's easier to assess risks and take appropriate action when you know what to do and when. Website audit and analysis of the results. Do it yourself or use the support of the experts. Proper analysis of what you have, how it works, what architecture it has, and what works fine and what needs to be upgraded will give you a concrete shape of the new website. Content, assets, roles, functionalities mapping. Create a map of your content, roles, and assets that will help you to make the migration process as smooth as possible. Design a new structure, information architecture for the new site. After completing the previous step, it should not be difficult. Good user interface, user experience practices are worth checking. Smart migration. Plan the migration, ensure you have the resources to carry it out, and verify its correctness. SEO optimization. Optimize solutions and content for SEO. That's very important. Redirect execution. If you're changing the URL structure, the link structure, make redirects from old to new. This will prevent a drop in Google ranking. QA. Get some QA support. This is really important. An extra pair of experienced eyes is super valuable. Expert support. Last but not least, remember that you can ask for support at any stage. Check the qualifications of the people you are going to ask, of course, but consult experts when you feel you lack knowledge. Okay, that's everything from me. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I managed to give you some insight into the Jamstack website and migration process. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I give the microphone back to Paulina. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina, for explaining the Jamstack concept. And now, when you have a general idea of how to handle the WordPress website issues, we would like to help you to choose a solution that is best for your needs. And to do this, we prepared a kind of brief comparison to the 3 options discussed earlier. So let's check that. The first criteria is SEO efficiency. If you care a lot about the SEO, Jamstack Migration is the best choice from those 3, as it provides the perfect SEO-friendly qualities for a website of any size. And additionally, as Carolina mentioned before, Jamstack websites load fast, they are user-friendly, they rank well. So we can say that in general, Jamstack makes it easier to pass Google's Core Web Vitals. Now let's talk about being future-proof. So in this category, the winner is, again, Jamstack. It offers you a modern website, well customized with great user experience. What's also important, Jamstack uses modern technologies that are far more supported than WordPress, which is slowly being outdated. If you consider which solution is the easiest to develop, so think about what do you think? Of course, in this case, we need to choose WordPress. Because if you plan to develop your website in any of these 3 options, you will need kind of like skilled team. The difference is that WordPress developers are a bit easier to find than Jamstack devs, and also this WordPress team may simply cost you less. On the contrary, if you're not planning to expand your website and add new features, Jamstack is a better choice. Why is that? A website on Jamstack does not require any updates, while a website on WordPress needs to be updated regularly, even if you don't change anything on it. Now let's discuss safety issues. If the issue of website security is giving you, let's say, like sleepless nights, you should seriously think about choosing Jamstack. Jamstack websites have no direct connection to the database or any other sensitive information, so they are much more secure than the other options. Regarding speed and performance, again, in this category, the award goes to Jamstack, as Jamstack websites are fast, they perform well, and as I mentioned before, they are favored by Google. Now we have like content migration. So if you stick with any of the WordPress options, you can simply skip this point. But in case of Jamstack migration, you need to remember that all the content you have on your website will have to be migrated to the new CMS. It's a rather easy process, but requires some time, some technical knowledge, and of course, you need to just like supervise all the process. Now we have like time to market. So if you need a solution to your WordPress website issues today, or better yet, yesterday, the fastest option to implement would be WordPress performance updates. Headless WordPress and Jamstack migration are more complex and therefore require a bit more time. And the last thing we would like to compare is the price. If your budget is limited and complete website redesign is out of your reach, WordPress optimization will be the best option for you. It will help you improve your website for little money. So you already know what's the difference between WordPress performance updates, headless WordPress, and the Jamstack migration. Now all you have to do is to choose which solution fits you best.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone, for a great presentation, for all those insights and all those 3 ways that we can deal with the outdated website. And of course, as you can see from Paulina's overview, that each of those ways has their own perfect circumstances, as some of them are more affordable, but cannot be really treated as a long-term solution. So I hope you managed to get some information, and I hope we help you make a better decision. If you have any questions, I think this is a perfect moment to send them over the chat. So please feel free to ask questions. Of course, we will send you all the materials. And together with the materials, as you can see right now on the slide, we will send also some additional resources. We've prepared a special page for that, so we can go and have a look on them as well. We prepared some technical guides. We prepared some more information about migration to Jamstack using WordPress as a headless CMS, and of course about Jamstack itself. So we hope you will find most of the questions that can come to your mind from those resources. Of course, we are also planning some upcoming events. And we will be definitely digging a bit more into improving conversion, improving page speed and page performance. So I invite you to stay tuned. So if you're actually ready for some sort of new journey, or you're still hesitating which way you should choose, as I said, all those three ways are good ways, but in specific circumstances. So we are also here to help you decide whether you should use just simple optimization or go Jamstack or any other way. So our experts are free for you. This is obviously a free conversation. Don't worry about that. So we invite you to contact us, and we can have a look on your website, on your business model, and we will definitely help you choose the right way. I don't really see any questions on the chat, so I assume our presentations went quite well, and we know everything that we need to know. Okay, if you will come up with any question anytime, feel free to ask, feel free to reach us out, especially Paulina. Paulina is open and ready to answer each and every question. So thanks very much again for watching. Thanks very much for our hosts and all of the guests. So let's stay in touch and see you in the next webinar. Thank you.